Hey everybody, welcome to the garden. I hope you're having a great day. Shout out to the lemon and lime lovers and everybody in between. It's time for the crypto market recap. And if you're interested in any of the services I provide, please check the links in the description for both the Discord and the Patreon. Okay, so let's get started. Firstly, we're going to be looking at Bitcoin and Ethereum, of course, as we are still currently in our short positions. And then we'll go over lightly a couple other cryptos. But I do want to talk on Bitcoin especially. So, update from the last time we have tested this ascending trend line, we can see completely respected it as resistance and sold off from it. And now currently we are painting, in my opinion, a bear flag. Okay, so this, in my opinion, is a bearish flag pattern being painted. And if it confirms, look for us to at least retest this trend line, which is the top of the rising wedge, and most likely break under it down to 42K and eventually 40,000. Okay, so this pattern, it may not break now, but if we continue to trade within this general range at a slow grind up, I would be it would be very, very, very likely that it breaks to the downside and confirms as a bear flag, which will bring us lower. If we do break into this wedge here, okay, so if we come through here and we finally break through and we break under this line, look for us to get to 40K fairly fast. And in my opinion, it would be very likely that we quickly, very quickly, in the span of a week or sooner, come to this support level at 40K and then break down hard towards 37,000 to 38,000. Okay, it's very important that happens quickly, because what is happening here, it's catching many people who are bullish on the market overall because they are trained to buy the dip. Okay, so when you're in a bull market, you want to always buy the dips. Okay, so when price goes up, comes back down, you want to buy here and then ride it up. Same here, comes down, buy here and then ride it up, and you just keep doing that, rinse and repeat. The problem is, if you're not experienced, you may not be able to recognize when that market has ended. So there's an old saying, the trend is your friend until the end. Well, in an uptrend, buying the dip is your friend because you're in the trend until the end. And here was the end. Here was a small continuation, and this is clearly the end. All right. I do want to go over one more thing in regards to Bitcoin. So looking at it on a much longer view. So let's clean this up. Okay. So take a look at this. Take a look at this. So we see, let's just take all that away for a second. So we see when we came up through here, hit this high of 64,000, 65,000, and then retraced down, we had this fairly long consolidation before the next rip higher. Well, take a look how it's trending down, how it's slowly sloping down, and then you get the burst up. So let's draw that real quick. So you see how it's sloping down, right? Slowly sloping down. What have I been saying? Bullish patterns tend to drift lower, right? Because buyers want to buy cheaper, and eventually the sellers do not want to sell that cheap. So the buyers are forced to buy up. Okay? So what do bearish patterns do? Remember, they drift higher. Okay? They drift higher. Once you get that through your head, it starts becoming a lot clearer what you're seeing in the market. Okay? When you have slow drifts higher, you know it's very likely that the sellers are in control, and once the buyers dry out, the sellers will be forced to sell lower because the buyers want to buy down there. They don't want to buy up here. You understand? So here's a very clear example of that in Bitcoin. All right? So, as I've been saying, watch for Bitcoin to go lower if this bear flag should validate. All right, it's still not a mature pattern. It's still in the process of being made, but it's increasing the probabilities as to go lower as we continue to trade within. All right, so we're going to stick short, and like I said before, as I was watching this support level of the rising wedge, that if price were to begin a drifting pattern above it, that I would not look to close the short or open long. I would not look to open long. I would look to keep the short open, not close it. Okay, so this is making me very bearish within the short term to see more downside, which is good for our short. All right, so let's go to Ethereum, which we are also short. So Ethereum, at least so far, has really been respecting this trend line here. This trend line here. You know what? Let's highlight it just to make very clear the importance of it. Okay, so this red thick trend line has currently been respected extremely well by Ethereum. We'll see if we can get an impulse higher. It is possible that Ethereum may get a little bit of a higher push, but as of right now, it doesn't look too great. Okay, it looks primed to finally get a full denial if this daily candle should close under this yesterday's daily candle. Okay, so if Ethereum closes around 334.40 or lower, it is very likely that Ethereum will start to descend lower. But as of right now, it's just respecting this trend line. It could get another push to 36, maybe even 37 to 38, and likely see lower levels because Bitcoin is looking more likely to come down. All right, but again, we're in a comfortable position with our shorts. We're a bit in the red in Ethereum. We're in the money with Bitcoin. Very comfortable, and again, our exposure to our overall count is very, very low. So we'll just see how things work out. Let's take a look at Solana, because I was eyeing that too. Unfortunately, Solana didn't really get to where I wanted it to. It got into the zone, but it would not hold here. It immediately would start selling off. So, I really was aiming towards the 150 to maybe the 148 level, but it just hasn't had the gas to get there. There's still time, of course. It may have to come back lower here to the 120, 121 zone, and then maybe get another rip higher possibly to test this descending trend line. And if it does it relatively soon, it can get to 150 and maybe 148. So this zone here. So we'll keep our eye on Solana. It's still a prime short target if you can get another impulse higher. But as of right now, it does not seem to be getting to my preferred short level, and I don't really see much reason to open short here. If it goes lower, it goes lower, and we might miss the trade. That's okay. We're only aiming for the highest probabilities, right? We only want to be on the side where the highest probabilities of success are. So we'll just have to be patient and just see what Solana does. And nothing's changed with its levels. It'll come down to 120, then 116. If that's broken, look for a test of this trend line down here, which is going to be anywhere from $82 to $75. All right. And if that's lower, then expect a real low level, 65 and lower. Okay. Let's see. Anything else? Let's take a look at Luna, because Luna's been pretty interesting. Made all-time high, then had a bit of a sell-off. After that all-time high was made, and now we have possibly another flag pattern being formed. I will say, considering how this is forming, how the velocity to the upside is really dissipating over time. I will say that I'm becoming more bearish the longer it consolidates now. Unless Bitcoin can get another impulse, Luna's looking kind of sketchy to get higher than 120. It got pretty close. But it can happen. So if this continues to bull flag out, so if this becomes a bullish consolidation and it has a really tight, a really nice bull flag forming, and it holds this level of 110, 109, I'll be pretty. Then I'll start getting okay. Maybe we will see another move towards 120 plus, like that 124, 122 zone. But when you start getting a little bit of a bullish consolidation, then this meager move up, and then the beginning of another consolidation so quickly, you have to start thinking, all right, maybe all the fuel in the tank has been spent. So we just have to watch very closely. And again, if it holds this flaggish pattern that it might be forming, for a while, it can coincide with this trend line here. Okay, so this trend line is still active, right? So it can coincide with this. So if it holds like this and then it starts touching here, which is confluence with this, with this rising trend line and then this horizontal support now, and holds here, then it might be bullish enough to get up and come up higher. All right. So again, you just want to watch and see. Luna, overall is still fairly bullish. It's just you gotta be careful if you're looking for another big move up. It's not confirmed and it's moved quite a lot already. So, but I'll definitely keep my eye on it. If I do see a high probability setup, to go short, then I will. I'm not interested in opening long here, even if it starts a bullish consolidation, unless I see something really nice on a smaller time frame that's going to flow into the higher time frames. Other than that, I would look to go short it at those higher zones of 120 plus 130 and 140 150 would be ideal. That would be ideal because we can also look at this. So let's take a look. Let's open up the pivots real quick so it's clear, and let's draw a trend line. See how cool these trend lines are once more. Okay, let's do this. So there's the previous all-time high at 2330. So we'll use the magnet. Okay, and let's use this here. Okay, and let's see, does that do anything here? Yeah, it does. Okay, so watch from the all-time high to this previous all-time high that got broken through here. Watch for this zone, which is again towards the 120 to 140 zone if it takes a really long time to get hit. All right, so it's an ascending trend line, so that means the longer it takes, the higher it can go. But this, I'm telling you right now, this will play a role. So we're going to keep this on screen, so we're not going to delete this, and we'll see if Luna should get to these higher levels. If this line gets respected, if I had to put my money on it, I bet it will. So we'll see. Okay. And let's look if there any other project, any other coin. Let's take a look at something that's gone down higher percentage. Let's take a look at Link. So yeah, Link. Again, fairly nice move up, but we might finally be getting a bearish engulfing candle. If it confirms, about 4.5 hours, so there's plenty of time for this to not validate. But if it does, all right, we're gonna look for a nice move down towards the 1580 to 1530 zone. All right, if that's held, then look for that move higher to $18 plus. But overall, a very nice move for Link. I would say it's prime. It's at one of those zones where it's prime to come lower. I would have loved to have seen it make a move to the $20, $19 zone. But as Bitcoin and Ethereum were approaching that really, really significant level, these trend lines that are just super important for it, I was becoming more and more skeptical that I could get there. But I love the zone for Link. I really do. I see so much confluence at this zone here, but hey, that's what happens when it's trading, not on its own, but with a lot of weight from Bitcoin and Ethereum. So again, we'll see though. We'll see if it can get bought up and still have another impulse higher. I will definitely be looking to go short there though, even if it hits this descending trend line at 1950. Unless there's a massive consolidation, unless there's a significant bullish consolidation here, I'll still be aiming for this trend line. Okay, unless my exposure to other cryptos are higher, then it might not be worth the risk. But again, we're staying nimble. We'll keep our eye on everything. Let's take a look at BNB real quick. Beautiful break, and now it's made it above this support, and now it's currently looking to hold it. A lot of indecision here. It looks like it's maybe in some sort of upward wedge. Yeah. So this is a live indecision here. This is a bit of a, yeah. It's a rising wedge. So you want to be a bit careful with these sort of patterns. Um, why is this okay? Yeah, I would be a bit careful. I'd be a bit careful here, but if it can hold the support, uh, it might do fairly well to get higher. I'm more neutral on this as of right now. It's a lot of indecision here, um, but it does look prime to probably break lower. So if it gets pretty high here, this is technically a bearish pattern. So if it breaks higher here, let's say it gets to like 460 and then breaks boom low, then it'll come back down to 440, 442. If that's held, then look for a bit of a consolidation and then a slow rise higher to test this trend line at some point. Okay. All right, and that might lead to the 510 level, which is more likely. If that should happen, if it let's say breaks, comes up here to 450, breaks lower, well, it's likely gonna break under this support, okay? Because if it can't float any higher, the demand at this support's gonna go lower, right? So like if you're a buyer here, but it starts breaking, let's say tomorrow under here, well, you're gonna be like, okay, well, it's likely it'll break lower. Let me target 400 to 410, because you want to target this support over here, right? Because there's plenty of support down here, and that's a better price for you. So you have to kind of think that way. Think about yourself as if you're shopping at the mall or at a store. You don't want to buy full price if you don't have to, especially if you like the thing. You want to buy it at a deal. So you're gonna probably aim for this. But if it gets all the way up here and then it starts breaking, then this is well enough, right? That's well enough because you're getting, let's see the deal. Wow, yeah, you're saving what, 7.5% if it were to break up here. You get the mindset now. It's really that simple. That's how it works. So let's say it breaks up here. Well, instead you'd only be saving what, 2.5%. You'd much rather do this. Oh, look, you'll save a 9%, a 9% sale. All right. All right. Let's take a look at anything else. Let's take a look at Atom. Yep, look, broke the smaller time frame wedge. Well, I should say the smaller symmetrical triangle to the upside. Now it's breaking down. We'll see if it can come back and test that support to make a move higher, because overall it's in a much larger triangle. So this move this is gonna last a long time. Okay, this is going to last a long time for Atom, unless Bitcoin, the only thing that would change it is if Bitcoin has a massive move up or down, right? Like, I mean, like a super, super large move. We're talking like a 20% plus move. That's what I'm talking about. Okay, 20% daily candle. Because look at this, how big this triangle is. Like, that's nearly 20% to the upside and nearly 20% to the downside. So, like, for Atom to move that much in a day or two, Bitcoin's going to have to move drastically. Okay, if Bitcoin has a 20% day, which it has, I've seen it, it had like a 16, 18, 20% day before, then you'll see a lot of altcoins, including Atom, or Cosmos, I should say, move 30, 40%. All right, so that's when, like, if it goes to the upside, you'll see this break very quickly, or downside. Again, I'm not calling for Bitcoin to have a move like that, but for this pattern, the larger symmetrical triangle, to break now, it would have to be something like that. Sometime in early fall to late summer is when you'll probably see this large symmetrical triangle break on Atom, if nothing happens in regards to Bitcoin moving drastically. Okay, so Atom is really a very interesting chart. It's something that I want to keep my eye on, but this pattern, is gonna define. I think it's gonna define the life of Cosmos. Okay, so if this breaks lower, there's a chance this coin dies. All right, there is a chance. It doesn't mean it will happen. I don't know much about the project. I do know some. It has some serious investors involved. It is somewhat of a much more mainstream project. Not the biggest, but it's not small. But things will be dying at some point. There's a lot of coins out there, so you want to be very careful. If this starts breaking lower, Doesn't mean it's going to die, but it does mean that something has changed in regards to the sentiment. Again, it does depend on Bitcoin. It does depend on Bitcoin, but be very careful with this. Very careful. If this breaks higher, I mean, like I've said before, Atom will have a move, at least for its lifespan, probably it's never had before. Okay, it'll probably go into the hundreds of dollars. Okay, it'll probably go into like 80, 90, maybe $100 if this were to break higher. Okay, over a long period of time, this will go towards the 80, $90 mark, and probably higher. So again, we'll keep our eye on it. Very interesting chart, very interesting project. Not a recommendation to invest. Again, I'm just looking at the chart. Anything else? Let's take a look at Ethereum Classic. It's painting a bull flag. There's a bull flag being painted here, and it's one I like. It's a lot of wicks, but I like the curvature and what I mean by in the angle. So take a look at this. Okay, let's change that color to black, and we'll make it a little thinner, because I do want to show, like, these don't have to be perfect. Okay, sorry, it doesn't have to be perfect. Like I've said before, trend lines do not need a touch point to point. The idea is that it helps you understand what you're seeing. That's really all it is. Don't get too obsessed with how it looks. So the idea is, what I want to see is this, right? So I want to see the angle of the top part here being anywhere from, again, go by your eye, around 45 degrees or lower. Okay, it doesn't have to be exact. You might see a degree marks here change. That's because they're not weighted. So, like, they change via your view of how you're looking on TradingView. But this, just going by your eye, could be anywhere from 35 to 50 degrees. So that's fine, right? 45 degrees is definitely the ideal, but this is fairly nice for you, if you want to see a high probability flag being painted. Okay, so this is what you definitely want to see. Very nice. I do like it. I think Ethereum Classic is going to have a decent move higher at some point, unless this flag doesn't validate, which is definitely possible, especially if Bitcoin and Ethereum start weakening, as I see that they might. But I personally do see a little bit higher. I would not be surprised if we get a little bit higher, and we might even break a little bit above this and retest this. It's possible. All I'm seeing is there's an immature pattern here of a bear flag. It may validate, it may not. Immature patterns are not as reliable as a mature pattern, but the longer it spends in here, the higher the chance it will respect this pattern and break lower. But I would not be surprised if we get a bit more of a higher push, especially looking at Ethereum. Like, Ethereum's chart makes me think that, hey, a move higher to 3,600 at least is in the cards, and that would be a great place to start looking to add on. Again, I'll alert the Discord if you're a member. I won't go into exact levels of what I'll add on to in the video, since this is free for everyone else. But if you're a member, you'll get the exact add-ons, and any other thoughts I have. I'm going to have a specific place just for members to hear. Okay, but I do want to keep these videos open for everybody. That way, they might glean some information, or a certain strategy or anything like that might be helpful to them. Okay, so I think that's all I want to go over today. I'm going to try and keep this kind of compacted to Bitcoin, Ethereum, and just a few other coins. All right. Well, everyone, make sure that if you're interested in any of my services, that you do check those links. I hope that you had a great weekend and that you have a great week. So, everyone, remember, be patient, be vigilant, and be nimble. Love you guys. Take care.